Good morning and welcome back to another video. We start with some good news. State Wyoming passes bill to recognize cryptocurrencies as money. Now I think there's been a couple of states who have been looking at whether to pass a bill and recognize Bitcoin. I'm assuming it's probably going to be about Bitcoin, or we'll have a read, or cryptocurrency as money. Now obviously, unlike many other countries, United States is quite unique where, well, I think it's quite unique where different states within the same country have different laws. So you can be in one state and something could be legal, and you could go to a different state and something could be illegal. And this is possibly something where something is recognized as being legal tender. In the United States, the state of Wyoming passed a bill that will allow cryptocurrencies to be recognized as money on January 31st, so yesterday, according to state legislate website. On Jan 8, Wyoming legislation presented the bill, which would help clarify the classification of cryptocurrency. As reported by Cointelegraph earlier this month, the bill will place crypto assets into three categories: digital consumer assets, digital securities, and virtual currencies. Any digital assets that fall into those three categories will be defined as intangible personal property, granting virtual currencies the same treatment as fiat money. The proposed bill also authorizes banks to provide custodial services for digital assets consistent with the section upon providing 60 days written notice to the Commissioner. The bill will go into effect 1st of March, also very quick, so next month, as stated by Wyoming legislator website. With Wyoming passing the bill into law to recognize cryptocurrency as money, other nations around the world are still unclear as to where cryptocurrency falls. Mexico and Denmark still view cryptocurrency as an unregulated asset, whereas Germany and Japan treat cryptocurrency like money, according to a recent report by Cointelegraph. The state of Wyoming has been showing continued efforts to become a crypto hub in the US. Earlier this month, Cointelegraph reported that Wyoming has introduced more crypto-related bills in legislation for consideration to help further the regulation of cryptocurrencies. Now, massive thumbs up to Wyoming, progressive state. Now, obviously, I don't know too much about Wyoming. It doesn't seem to come up in the traditional news as much as other states, like obviously California and places like Washington or District of Columbia do come up. So very, very good. Hopefully, we will have other states starting to do the same thing. Now, obviously, Mexico and Denmark see it as an unregulated asset, but again, progressive countries, you can say Germany and Japan, treat it like money. Historically, they've been quite innovative with policies, especially Japan. So we know it's a land of tech. Germany is a very, very strong country in Europe, and I think, in fact, it's probably the most stable country in the EU is Germany. So very good to hear that. If they're going to start treating it like fiat money, that means that it should have the same protections as fiat. If banks are going to start, which obviously wasn't the idea of cryptocurrency, but if banks are going to start offering custody of crypto, then potentially if there's the same protection applied to digital wallets as there are to fiat currency, then you're going to get more people coming into the market. Don't want to go too much about this, but I said that a lot actually. But it's very, very good news, and the fact that it's only 28 days away. Today is the 2nd of Feb, so it's very good news. I'm happy to see that. Happy that Wyoming are moving forward with this. I guess they probably want a lot of other maybe cryptocurrency companies to set up in Wyoming. If they're going to start being crypto friendly, like Malta is, and South Korea, and Japan, and Germany, and Switzerland, and even places like in Eastern Europe have been shown to be progressive. Then there's nothing stopping people basing themselves and getting local laws passed to them just imagine we had a Coinbase bank and they were based in Wyoming. I mean, I don't know if that would be plausible or feasible in the real world, but as a sort of a scenario in my head where people could come there, you could take out loans from Coinbase in crypto like Nexo do. There's a lot of possibilities when a state or a country allows the adoption of cryptocurrencies to become parallel to fiat currency, as well as not being scared that it's going to take away your base currency, whichever it be USD, GBP, or the euro. So very good to see, and let's move on. Some good news, which I didn't expect to happen so quickly. The CBOE reapplies with the US SEC to list Bitcoin Exchange Traded Fund, or ETF. Before I start reading, I didn't expect it to be this quickly. I thought they were going to go back to the drawing board, look at sort of their proposal of what they were saying in terms of what they're going to do and how to mitigate against risk, which I think is the main emphasis why the SEC keeps rejecting the Bitcoin ETF. But they've obviously had something in backup, or for some bizarre reason maybe pulled out and then quickly reapplied with a new set of ways to mitigate risk, obviously, which will mean protecting the consumer. And I'll read, this is on Cointelegraph.com. The Chicago Board Options Exchange, CBOE, along with investment firm VanEck and financial services company SolidX, has reapplied with the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, for a rule change to list Bitcoin Exchange Traded Fund. VanEck Digital Asset Strategy Director Gabor Gubaks announced the public filing 31st, so that was 2 days ago. ETFs are securities that track a basket of assets proportionally represented. Something else came into my head. Represented in the fund's shares. They are seen by some as a potential step forward for the mass adoption of cryptocurrencies as a regulated and passive investment instrument. CBOE had initially withdrawn its request for a rule change to list a Bitcoin ETF on Jan 23rd, which I spoke about on the channel actually. A CBOE spokesman told Cointelegraph that the decision to withdraw its request was a result of US government shutdown as the end of the review period on February 27th approached. Some legal experts noted at the time the SEC was operating on a limited basis due to shutdown, which was the result of a political... Yeah, okay, we know about that part. The application process has experienced several delays as the SEC pushed back its decision on multiple occasions. The firm first filed with the SEC to list a Bitcoin-based ETF on June 6, 2018. Wow, such a long time ago. Subsequently, in August, the Commission delayed. Yes, we heard another delay until 30 September. The Commission then requested further comments regarding the decision, claiming that the agency has not reached any conclusion with respect of any of the issues on the rule change. So then they delayed again in December. When I read this, I don't know if anybody else maybe feels the same. Why would you withdraw because of the shutdown? It just means it's still pending. They're not going to reject it because the government shut down. Yes, there were still some aspects of the SEC still probably open. It's not a full shutdown. From what I understand is people were still going to work. They were still having to do their job, but unfortunately they weren't getting paid, which, because maybe payroll was closed or something along the lines of certain systems weren't being allowed to be used, whatever it may be. But there are still people working. It's not a complete shutdown where it was a partial shutdown. The whole government hadn't shut down. They weren't at home just watching TV. There were people working. So clearly something had triggered them to make a withdrawal to reapply. And obviously maybe that was the fact that if they had to do one more thing, or there was something they discovered that they knew that were going to get rejected, so they had to quickly withdraw to reapply. I thought it was going to be months before they reapply. I honestly thought it was going to be end of the year before they looked to reapply. I thought they were going to go back to the table, look at it again, look at the idea of the SEC and what they want, maybe get some advice, maybe get someone like what trying to do and get somebody on the board from the SEC, speak to some lawyers, fill out documentation, show custody, and then reapply. clearly they know exactly what they had to do, and they've reapplied. Now, obviously, the issue with the shutdown is it's a temporary reopen, which was meant to be 3 weeks. I think this is already into our second week now. Whether we do shut down again in a week's time, in 2 weeks' time, or they lift the ban and the government come to a decision what happens with the funding for the wall. Either way, the SEC still needs to give a decision on this. It'd be interesting to see if they reapply so quickly and the SEC come back and says it's delayed again. And it'll be like, okay, so why did you just suddenly reapply so quickly after withdrawing it on the basis that you expected it to be approved? Again, we are waiting on this basis that we expect a rejection, even though they've reapplied. We don't live in hope, we just live in the SEC's idea they're going to reject everything. I guess it's just going to be, let's just see what happens. Again, not putting too much hope on this approval compared to the other delays which have happened all over 2018 and previous to that. So interesting to see that they've come back so quickly, but not that hopeful, more realistic than optimistic. Let's move on. So an article from News BTC, the upcoming Litecoin halving could ultimately send LTC surging. Let's have a look. As the cryptocurrency market continues to be battered by frequent bouts of volatility and face growing downward pressure from bears, investors are keen on finding events that could reverse their investment price descent. Litecoin is one such cryptocurrency that has dropped significantly from all-time highs, but an upcoming event may be able to change the price trend. One prominent cryptocurrency analyst is quick to point out that if history repeats itself, Litecoin could see its price surge at some point over the next couple of years as investors see the impact of its upcoming block reward reduction event, commonly called halving. At time of writing, Litecoin is trading up almost 4% at its current price of $32.70 and is one of the few major cryptocurrencies that posted gains today. Although LTC is trading up slightly from its 2008 lows of $223, it is presently down over 90% from all-time highs at approximately $375 that were set at the top of the parabolic crypto bull market that lasted into the first weeks of 2018. Before reversing and sending all cryptocurrencies spiraling downwards. Litecoin, like all cryptocurrencies, has been particularly affected by the recent state of the markets, as a long ways to go before it gets close to reclaiming or surpassing its previously established all-time highs, but the upcoming halving event may be able to reverse its downward trend. A halving event historically preceded by major price surge. Litecoin, like Bitcoin, periodically has a block reward reduction event that reduces the rewards miners get for mining a block, which in turn reduces the rate of issuance of the cryptocurrency. Assuming that the demand for Litecoin is constant, the reduced supply will positively impact its price, as miners won't move to be selling as much Litecoin on a consistent basis. So obviously, demand is high, but obviously supply is low. Simple economics, price goes up. Nothing too complicated there. Moon Overload is a popular cryptocurrency analyst on Twitter, discussed the implications that halving events have on Litecoin price in recent tweet, pointing out that if history repeats itself, LTC may bottom in the 200-day period preceding the event and then climb towards its previously established all-time highs. And I think this is right. The Litecoin halving is quickly approaching. LTC bottomed at approximately 200 days before its halving in 2015. We're almost exactly 200 days away from the LTC halving. LTC peaked 2 years plus after its halving. If it follows a similar path, this time it will peak in 2021, so 2 years from now. He explained while referencing the charts Litecoin's historical price patterns around the times of the halving. So I can't even open it. So price coin halving on the red. So what was that? 2015, and then it peaked on the green, which is 2000. It must be the 18 part. Yes. And then the bottom is now, so its halving is in August. I think that's in August 2019, I believe. I think it's normally, what's the word? It's normally a year before Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin's halving. In fact, I actually have it on my phone, sadly enough, in a calendar. I don't know how many people do that, but I think it's in May time in 2020. So normally it's a year before that. I think. Let me look at my calendar. No. There we go. So, no, halving. Okay, what are we counting down from? A year and 88 days. That's what I've got it down as. So yes, I think it's around May 2020 will be the Bitcoin halving. So a year before that, probably the Litecoin halving. So we expect what? A peak 2 years after that. So 2021. Let's see. I think I did hear someone else saying they would see a lot of price surge before the halving, which is a different theory. Although it doesn't seem to work with Litecoin. I think it was only with Bitcoin. You saw a big surge with before the Bitcoin halving, which I think was around. It must have been, if this was 2015, must have been 2016, and then afterwards, it continued to rise, but not the same way. Whether we get this same pattern where we get a bottom, which is what we've got now with Litecoin, and then a slow increase and some steady movement. So that's what it shows. It shows a small increase from when it halved. So we're expecting August when it halves. And then you've got an increase and then a major increase. So 2 years worth of increases. Interesting. We've got the Bitcoin halving, like I said, in May 2020, and it'll be interesting to see how that affects price. Hopefully we're already in a good place. We don't want another year of a bear market. I can't see it happening, but then again, I'm sure people in 2018 at the start of that said we don't expect a bear market for this long. I guess we'll wait and see. I mean, analysts or TA, like I mentioned, technical analysis only works so much. It doesn't include so many other things like emotion and historic events can be good, but real life events happening now or are going to happen can really change up. Just because it's happened previously, it doesn't mean it's going to happen again. And similarly, like I said about February, 3 years, 4 years running, Bitcoin has been doing well in Feb, and it could break that by not doing so well in February. So again, it's just historic events don't always tie up. And saying that, let's have a quick look at the market. I think the market's up slightly. I'm saying the XRP is slightly down. So the market's up very slightly. Bitcoin dominance is slightly down. Volume's fairly low. There's nothing much to report in terms of that. Trading volume is not bad for 5 billion for a Saturday. What's up? Electronuem. Now, I just want to quickly mention Electronuem. They released an app, iOS app, that has a wallet and cloud mining. Now, it's very bizarre because they've got two apps. They've got an app on Android which can actually mine off the phone and uses the phone's CPU and probably GPU to mine. So depending which phone you've got, you could get a slightly decent return of Electronuem per day. When I mean decent, I mean a few. Now with the Electronuem mining for the iOS devices, it's slightly different because Apple probably don't want an app, overusing battery and CPU and GPU, because it's going to drain the battery and people complain, and then Apple say, well, it's this app, and then they have to get rid of the app, and then people's phones batteries get improved suddenly. So it's bizarre. So the way it works is if you download the app and you set up an account, it tells you how does it work. Once you've activated cloud mining on your account, you'll be earning Electronuem without having to keep the app active on your device. All the mining magic is handled on our servers, so you don't have to worry about mining anything. You get 7 days of cloud mining before your mining will stop. This is a bot prevention measure. Okay, blah, blah, blah. So it doesn't actually use the power, and I don't even know how much power it's using, but basically I've been running it for probably 15 hours, and my pending balance is 2.73 Electronuem. So, which is worth, there's a calculator here, and I'll tell you what that's worth. it's worth 1 US cent. Let's change it into GBP and see how even less it's worth. It doesn't register. Well, it does. It's still a pence, but I think it's actually less than a pence. In Bitcoin, it's 0.00000562. So it's more than 1 Satoshi, which is good. I don't expect. I mean, the one good thing about it, I'm not using my phone. I'm not using my battery. I'm not using electricity I'm paying for. It's just using cloud mining. Again, I don't even know what speed it works at. I don't know what difference it makes in terms of if you've got more, do you get a higher proportion of it? But clearly, it's probably affected their price. I don't expect it to, sustain unless people keep using it. I mean, saying that, from yesterday there was 95,000 active members, and there's 105,000. So it's got up 10,000 members in 15 hours. And I think the app was only released yesterday. Only because I signed up on my wife's phone for the Android version of it, which you could mine off the phone, and you had to set up an account. And then I had an email from the CEO, well, not me personally, but an email was sent out from I think Richard Ellis is the guy's name, and he sent an email out saying that they've now enabled. The app is launched. It says, and this was sent yesterday at 5:45 in the UK. So yes, the Electronuem app is now available on iOS and it can be installed right now on your phone. If you have one from Apple Store, you can cloud mine some ETN every day from your iPhone. So if 105,000 people are mining just maybe 2 or 3 ETN a day, so obviously they are then mining around 300,000. Well, I haven't done it for a full 24 hours. Let's say 5 ETN. So they can mine 500,000 ETN per day, which is not bad. I mean, you leave it on, and you can close the app. It does it on the cloud, so you don't actually have to have the app open. You just need to enable it by doing some basic KYC. So if you can mine 300,000 a day, if the mining pool does 500,000 a day, that's a massive 1 Bitcoin a day, which is not bad, but in pound sterling that's £2,700, and that's in USD is probably over 3,000, similar to price to the Bitcoin price. Obviously, I don't know why I need to check that. Again, I'm nothing to do with Electronuem. I wasn't even going to speak about that until I saw the price increase, which is quite interesting. So I'll keep mining it. Again, if you have an iOS device, nothing really to lose. Again, not financial advice, although you're not actually paying for anything. It's a free app. Not getting paid, no affiliation to Electronuem. Just actually wasn't even going to speak about it, but I've been using it, and I've produced a massive 2.73 ETN. So go get yours. Basically, it's kind of free Electronuem. And if for any bizarre reason this coin, amongst all the other great coins out there, which is number 60, so at least it's in the top 100, happens to do well and happens to increase in future, then hey, you've just gained some free Electronuem without having to spend any money on it. So it's got a massive supply of 8.8 billion. I think its all-time high has never been very high, So it was all-time high was ever. Oh, look at that, 0.08, so not too bad. So we're sitting at 0.007. So it actually reached 8 cents. So yeah, if you could yourself mine 100,000 of those, that would be close to $8,000. Not too bad. Anyway, I'll leave it there. I don't want to keep hyping up Electronuem. People might think I'm working for them, or maybe I'm Richard Ellis himself. Have a great day, have a great evening, have a great weekend, and please comment, like, and subscribe, and let me know what you think about the ETF. Let me know what you think about Electronuem in terms of the cloud mining. Are you downloading it? Have you downloaded it? Is it anything worth talking about? And anything else I've discussed today or in the previous videos. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Goodbye.